Welcome back, everybody. Today is the big day. Later this evening, the NHL draft is finally here. So today I will be releasing my first round rankings. If you're new here, then be sure to subscribe and to leave a like and hit that notification bell so you can see all of my new videos that are being released. Coming in at 32nd overall, I have David Edstrom. This guy's got a huge frame, and I'd say he comes with a lot of NHL certainty. He's known for creating havoc in front of the net. Just how good could he be? I would say possibly good enough for a second line guy. It'll take some time, but I could see him being a really good middle six forward someday. At 31, I've got Lukas Dragicevic. You'll hear so many mixed reviews on this guy. I think he's a boomer bust prospect. He is so good offensively, likely close to being one of the best offensive defensemen in this class, but his poor defensive efforts are noticeable and they'll likely hold him back at the NHL level. At 30th overall, I've got Andrew Cristall. This guy is like the Brad Lambert of this draft class. I for sure could see him falling down early on in the season. Even like halfway through, he was projected to be pretty much a lock for the top 15, maybe even 10. But I do see some weaknesses that he has, like his skating. I think that really needs to improve. He is rather small, but he has so much talent. His offensive skills are exactly what stands out. The playmaking ability is very high end. He's a boomer bust prospect as well, much like Dragicevic, in my opinion. Ranked at number 29, I have Oscar Fisker Molgaard. This guy played more than 40 games in the SHL this year. He proved his worth there. He showed he can play against men. A lot of people see this guy as a second round pick, but I feel like he'll be seen as somebody who should have went in the first round down the road if he ends up not getting selected in the first. He has so much upside. There isn't anything absolutely spectacular about him, but at the same time, he doesn't have too many holes in his game. And I think he's just a pretty well-rounded player, and he should be able to become at least a third-line center, but there is the possibility of maybe even becoming a second-line center. At 28th overall, I have Callum Ritchie. I'm not quite as high on him as some others would be, but there's some stuff to like about him. He's got solid potential to become a good second line center. He's got a good frame, though he could use it a bit better. He's got some good offensive talent. His hockey IQ stands out the most for me. Ranked at 27th overall, I have Edward Shala. Early on in the year, he was projected to go in the top 10, but I think there is some risk with Shala. I just wonder if he actually has what it takes to be a dangerous top 6 guy. And I don't overly see him being an effective bottom 6 guy. He's got an elite shot and some pretty sweet offensive instincts. He looks like he would be very good on the power play, and I think that's something that he will depend on at the NHL level. At number 26, I have a much safer pick in Daniil But. This guy is such a beast, one of the bigger boys in this draft class. He's going to be an awesome power forward. He's just got such great potential, I would say. Top 6 upside, but he could carve out a bottom 6 role as well. You can't go wrong with selecting Boot. The biggest thing with him is his skating. If it can improve, then he could hit a higher level. At number 25, I have Samuel Honzek. I'm not as high on this physical beast compared to some others, but Honzek has some pretty good potential. He can play any forward position. It'll be interesting to see if he ends up as a center or a winger at the NHL level. He had a good season with the Vancouver Giants, and he should become a solid middle 6 guy, and there certainly is some upside to become a top 6 guy. Coming in at 24th overall, I have Gavin Brindley. He sure is an interesting prospect. He's one of those guys that makes you say, if he wasn't so small, then he'd likely go so much higher. He's only 5'8", but he makes up for it with a very complete game. He hustles all over the ice. For a small guy, he's got a promising two-way ability, and he's just a stud offensively. There's a lot to like about Brindley. Coming in at 23rd overall, I have Otto Stenberg. Most people saw Stenberg as a second round kind of player for most of the season, but then he popped off at the U18 World Juniors tourney. His playmaking skills looked improved there big time. My biggest concern is that offensive ceiling, but he did take that big step at the tournament. He's so good in all three zones. However, his biggest weakness as of now would probably be in the offensive zone. What you want to see with Stenberg is him getting better in that area, and he's showing that he's improving a lot, and I think that he will continue to take steps forward in that area. So this is a pretty promising pick at 23rd overall, I would say. You can't go wrong with Stenberg. At pick number 22, I'm going to go with Quentin Musty. There's a ton to like about Musty. He's one of the younger players in this class. He's an elite playmaker. He's got great size. He moves so well all over the ice. Love the skating ability that he has. I feel like maybe I'll regret putting him at 22 someday, but this is such a stacked draft class, so it's really hard. Ranked at number 21, I've got the Moose Jaw Warrior forward in Brayden Yager. He has proven to be a dual threat offensively. He was a big-time playmaker this season. He really improved in that area. The year before, he made a name for himself with his wicked shot. Yager should be a pretty good goal scorer. I say he projects to become a pretty solid second-line center someday. At 20th overall, I'm going to go with Matthew Wood. This guy can score in many ways. He comes with great size. We got to give him more credit for leading his team in points in the NCAA, despite being the youngest player on his team. I think he'll be a great power forward in the NHL someday. I would just like to see that skating improve. At 19th overall, I have Riley Heidt. He finished tied with Connor Bedard for most assists in the WHL, though he did play 10 more games. I think with Heidt, you're getting an elite playmaker that can play center. He brings a lot to the table. He's no defensive superstar, but he comes with some solid two-way upside, and I think that's a big bonus for somebody with so much potential offensively. Some of you might think this is a bit of a stretch, but at 18th overall, I have Gracyn Sawchyn. This is a reliable two-way guy who's going to help his team win big games. His game is full of little details that coaches appreciate very much. His offensive ceiling maybe isn't the highest, but he comes with a lot of NHL certainty, and I can see him taking a big step next season offensively. Coming in at 17th overall, I have Russian defenseman Mikhail Gulyayev. He has such a well-rounded game. I really think that's solid. That's my favorite thing about him. I think he's a lock to become a middle pairing left-hand D. He's great in transition. He's such a good skater. I wouldn't say he's the best in any category compared to the other defensemen in this class, but he should be a very solid defenseman someday. At 16th overall, I'm going with Gabe Perrault. I still see some concerns with him, and I do see this as a risky pick. But man, oh man, we know that he has that explosive offensive game that is pretty much too tough to pass up. I think it's good enough that he should be able to make a living off of it. However, his weak skating and poor defensive ability concerns me a bit. At 15th overall, I have Nate Danielson, the captain of the Brandon Wheat Kings. He already has so much maturity to his game. His team lacks some good talent around him as well, and he still found a way to be so effective. I like his size, his energy, his awesome work ethic. I feel like whoever gets Danielson will be very happy with the pick, and 15 is a really solid spot for him, I would say. Some of you might be surprised with this one, but at 14th overall, I'm going with Axel Sandin-Pellikka. Clearly, this guy should become the best offensive defenseman in this class. I just wonder how much his defensive ability will hold him back, as it isn't the best. Axel Sandin-Pellikka kind of reminds me a bit of Adam Boquist, but a bit better defensively. He's got that elite shot. He should be a total weapon on the man advantage, and that skating ability is filthy. He moves around amazingly, and it's always so flashy and exciting. Ranked at number 13, I have Oliver Moore. And this should be a really interesting story with him, just seeing how it's all going to play out. There are some people who believe he could become the best player out of the bunch of the USDP guys who played on the same team. Despite him being on the second line, he was left out playing with the rest of the high-end talent, but still displayed his value. He's likely the best skater in this draft class. He's got great defensive ability. His offensive ceiling is the huge question. Just how good can this guy evolve in the ozone? I think that's the biggest thing with Moore. If it can evolve to an elite level, then this guy probably down the road will look like that he should have definitely been a top 10 pick. And I mean, maybe he does find his way into the top 10. All right, things should get pretty interesting from here. At 12th overall, I'm going with Dvorak. This is a player who some people are like, he's definitely a top 10 guy. Some people are hesitant to have him in their top 15. Just a lot of interesting things surrounding Dvorak. But I think he should become quite the stud. He's got so much NHL certainty. He's got top 6 upside. He'll be such an impactful center. And he looked amazing in the U18 World Junior Tournament, where he absolutely put that Slovak squad on his back. And he was scoring. He was just doing it all seemingly. And I think that's why his resume was boosted big time. Just ranked out of my top 10, at 11th overall, I have Tom Willander. I think it's really possible to see Willander go before Sandin Pellikka. Sure, the offensive ability isn't as great as Sandin Pellikka's, but it's not as far away from his as you would think. This guy's going to become a stud defensively. He's a really good skater as well. It's his strong two-way ability that makes me think he's going to evolve into a total beast. And just how good he is defensively and the offensive potential, which is growing more and more, I just think that Willander could blossom into this fantastic defenseman who's just very complete. At 10th overall, I have David Reinbacher, who is projected to become the next Moritz Seider. He certainly has the vibes that Seider gives. He's got that great size. He's amazing in transition, a difference maker every time he's in the defensive zone. I think he's going to be able to play on the top pair someday. Put this guy with an offensive beast on the top pair, and he's going to thrive. I can see why Montreal is thinking about reaching for him at 5th overall. Imagine him and Lane Hutson together. A defensive pair like that could be nearly perfect. At 9th overall, I have Colby Barlow. I've been high on this kid all season long, and I think it's crazy that some people have him outside of their top 10. I think it's easy with Barlow. He's going to be a big-time goal scorer, and there's so much value there. I think he could be a consistent 40-goal scorer someday. He has the potential to get into that 50 territory. He's also no slouch defensively either. There's a lot to like about Barlow. I kind of see him as like a Kyle Connor type player, just better defensively. So if that really does come true, this is going to be an excellent player. At 8th overall, I am ranking Dmitry Simashev as the top defenseman in this upcoming draft class. I think Simashev has a lot what Reinbacher has to offer, but even better. It's that elite skating ability that stands out, which is way better than Reinbacher's. The electric flashes in the offensive zone. Simashev didn't put up good numbers this season, but you can just see it in him. He looks like he's going to evolve into a powerful defenseman that can rack up lots of points. On top of that, he is fantastic defensively. I just look at the potential with this guy, and I think he just could blossom into something so special. At 7th overall, I'm going with Zach Benson, and this might be slightly too low for him. Time will tell. He's on the smaller side, but he's going to find a way to become a superstar. In the past 10 or so years, he's put up the second most points in the WHL before turning 18 years old. He reminds me of Mitch Marner and Brayden Point. Benson is going to be a stud, and if he drops below 7, then that would be just insanity in my opinion. At 6th overall, I have Ryan Leonard, and some people say that's maybe a bit of a reach for him, and I say no way. He's the kind of guy who can seem to do it all. So much goal-scoring upside that he has. He's a hard worker. He's great in all 3 zones of the ice. The potential is sky high for him. It's players like Leonard who help you win important hockey games. He looks like he'll be a fantastic playoff performer someday. I could rave about Leonard all day. I have pretty much nothing but good things to say about him. All right, now time for my top 5, and I will start with Will Smith, the man with the filthy mitts. Smith is an absolute threat in the offensive zone. It wouldn't be too surprising to see Smith being better offensively than Fantilli and Carlsson. He has some of the best offensive upside in this draft class. However, he has some holes in his game. His defensive ability is rather mid. He's clearly going to lean on his amazing offensive ability, and he clearly will be able to carve out an amazing career because of it. But just how good could it be? I guess we'll just have to wait and see. All right, and now coming in at 4th overall, believe it or not, I'm going to mix it up a little bit because I hate how everybody acts like this guy is so much better compared to the other center who he's often compared with. So 4th overall, I'm going to go with Adam Fantilli. I think Fantilli is closer to Carlsson than most people make it out to be. I think these two are going to be competing with each other for so long, and that the debate is going to be going on for such a long period of time. We're going to be going back and forth on it. But anyways, Fantilli, this guy's got such a great engine. He's such a fantastic skater and brings so much energy to the table. He looks like he's going to be the new age Nathan MacKinnon. He's got an amazing shot. He won the Hobey Baker Award as a freshman, just the 3rd player to ever do that in the NCAA. Fantilli has a lot going on. I'd like to see him play one more season in Michigan, but I think this guy has what it takes to become a top 10 center in the NHL someday. At 3rd overall, yes, I'm just giving him the edge over Fantilli. I'm going with Leo Carlsson at 3rd overall. You don't see that a lot, and I think it's under the radar that the fact is that Carlsson had way less talent to work with this season. He played in the SHL against men and didn't look out of place whatsoever. He probably won't be this big-time goal scorer like Fantilli will, but Carlsson will still be able to score and put up some good numbers there. But what I really look at is the fact that he's going to be this elite playmaker. His vision and hockey IQ are brilliant. He's very exciting, and he should be better defensively than Fantilli. Carlsson gives these Kopitar vibes. So Carlsson, we're saying, he's going to maybe be like Kopitar, and Fantilli, he's maybe going to be like MacKinnon. And we'll have this as a debate in the comments section, so be sure to let me know, who would you rather have, a prime Nathan MacKinnon or a prime Anze Kopitar? With Carlsson, I just think and wonder if he can actually hit that Kopitar status and do all of those amazing things in all 3 zones of the ice. He has what it takes to be a spectacular player, and I just think people don't give Carlsson enough credit. And the fact that most people seem to have Fantilli over Carlsson, I thought I'd give him some respect, though I do think it is awfully close. Fantilli is clearly the better skater. And with Carlsson, I would say that's a big thing for him. His skating ability does need to improve, and this is something that will define just how elite he can become. And then there's this guy at 2nd overall. I've got Matvei Michkov, and I just cannot believe what is happening with him. How everybody's like, oh, he's going to fall big time. Oh, he's Russian. Oh, he has this contract extension in the KHL. And they're like, because of that, he's not going to be this phenomenal player. It's absurd, really. People are just underestimating how talented, how elite Matvei Michkov is. This is the best ever KHL season by a draft-eligible forward that we've ever seen before. Better than Ovechkin, for crying out loud. I'm not sure why this continuously seems to go unnoticed. He doesn't get the respect he deserves. I keep hearing this funny joke that, like, if his name was Michael Mitchell and he played in the WHL, that he'd 100% go 2nd overall. Michkov has what it takes to become one of the best goal scorers in this next generation of hockey. That right there says it all. He's filthy. He's going to be such a game breaker. What he's going to do in the offensive zone is going to blow everybody's minds, and people are sleeping on him, and it's ridiculous. And of course, at 1st overall, I have Connor Bedard. I shouldn't have to explain myself too much here. He's literally the Connor McDavid of this draft class. Literally everybody in the world has Bedard ranked first overall. He looks like he'll give McDavid a run for his money someday. If McDavid can't find a way to hit 70 goals in a season, then Bedard might have to be the guy that the NHL fan base will have to lean on in achieving that goal. But yeah, for real, Connor Bedard, he just seems like this kind of guy that's going to be able to put up 60 and 60 all the time. Not right from the beginning of his career. I do think he's going to have this amazing rookie season where, maybe 40 goals, 35 goals is in reach. And then when he fully matures and develops, I think, he's going to be able to put up these 120-point seasons. He's going to hit high totals with his goal scoring. He's just going to change the league, really. He's going to be the new face of the league. That's going to be super exciting, even though he's going to Chicago. So there you have it. There are my rankings for the first round. It's going to be really exciting. By the end of the day, we will know who is going where, and I can't wait. Thank you all for being here for my journey during the beginning of my YouTube mission. And I really am striving to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Thank you all for the support. If you're new here, then be sure to subscribe, leave a like, hit the notification bell so you can see when my new videos are being released. And finally, release a comment. Let me know what you're thinking about where I rank some players. Are they maybe too low or some too high? How are you feeling? This is my first edition with my rankings. I hope that I can be better by the time the 2024 draft class comes, and I hope to see you all there. Thank you for tuning in today, and I will see you all next time.